Привет, Debro Pajhalovic, это neverything. And welcome to another episode. I'm your host, Steven. Wow, I have been so busy these last couple weeks. I took some time off. I didn't mean to step away, but I recently got a new job. I was talking about it in the last podcast. I got a pretty well paying and very, very crazy job. It was a bit challenging to deal with mentally. I was kind of freaking out because I kind of walked out on my last job, and that's a very not cool thing to do. But if you got to do what you got to do, you got to do it, right? I'm working at a warehouse now. Like I said, very well paying. My pay starts around like $22 an hour, but I can make more than that based on my production I do at my work. I don't know if you heard in the beginning, I've been working on my Russian a little bit. It is still not particularly good, but I feel like I'm not getting too bad at it. Thanks, Duolingo. So I think in this episode, I'm going to talk about jobs and careers. A very fun and interesting topic, but I think it's a great thing to talk about since there are so many different jobs out there that you could do as a person. The faucet has opened up to what you can pick up and what you want to do. It's not just like you have to stick to being like one lane, how everything was back in the day. It's like either you were in trade or in marketing or you were on the street selling newspapers. It's definitely now, like I said, you have so many openings of what you can do and what you can make as a job. Some jobs seem very not real. I think it kind of gives a perception of giving anybody something to really do, like this maybe. I I'm not saying that I don't consider it a job. It could be a career for some people doing this and making money off of it. But is it something that is completely reliant that you can fall back on and it would still pay the bills and take care of you or your loved ones? I don't know. I haven't really seen the incomes or like the outcomes of this. I don't suspect it to get super big. I it would be cool if it did, but it is what it is. Like I said, it just started. It was really cool. Got to meet new people. We trained with different guys. Got to sit down and talk to them. It's pretty cool because we sat in office and it's like, oh, introduce yourself and where you're from and an interesting thing you do. And I mentioned, this. I as mentioned that as well. I do like somewhat of music as well too. I try to keep up with that, but this has really been like my side hobby for right now because it is something really fun to do where I could just sit down and relentlessly just keep talking and talking and talking. Uh, it's was pretty interesting to meet new people that I'm going to be working with. I think it was a great way to meet someone quickly instead of going out of your way and trying to meet people because like there is no time for that at this job. It Like I said, it is constant work. It's busy, busy, busy. It's honestly something I've been wanting to get into. If your job isn't taking up your time and you're bored, then I feel like you need to move on to something else. A lot of people get so comfortable with what they're doing because they're scared to move on or want to just be in that space for God knows how long, and that could be so mentally draining until then one day you're completely out of it and don't know what to do anymore. I am not one of those people. If I'm uncomfortable and I'm not digging the job, I will let the people know and eventually move on and get into something hopefully I can enjoy doing. Like I said, it's in a warehouse, so it's huge. I I've worked in a couple warehouses before, but nothing like this big. It is. I don't know what I really could say about this job. I don't think it's something that's super private. I mean, I won't get into the details of like what we do. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what I can say. It's just a really crazy job. I'm moving a lot of product. I'm a selector. That's kind of almost a giveaway for what I do, but it is a job where you're constantly moving, using a lot of muscles. It's very tiring. Well, like what I was saying before, it's maybe I've been waiting to do something like this. I've been so chillaxed with like my last couple jobs that I've been wanting, like I said, be in that comfortable mindset where it's like I don't want to get out of my roundhouse. I don't want to do something super hard. Like I expect the money to start flowing, and that just wasn't happening. I started very much suffocating with what I was doing and trying to keep up with bills and keep myself satisfied, and especially with my personal stuff. I was trying to keep up with buying clothes and getting haircuts and just keeping up with my just mental mental health with like how I perceive myself because I feel like not a lot of that should go into like the way you should perceive your mental ability, but it does help out in little ways. Like even just going out and getting something that you make you smell good when you take a shower kind of gives you that little like fuzzies in your brain. Be like, yeah, I'm kind of fixing some things. It's crazy that sometimes you have to go this far and go hard to get the things that you want to enjoy in life, but uh, I don't know how to really explain it that like maybe that isn't the best way for payoffs. I think I've seen a lot of different videos of people talking about how they are really physically tired and mentally tired of working a job that's 5 days a week and 8 to 10 hours, even more, 12 hours. And when the weekend comes, they don't have time for themselves, and they're paying bills, getting groceries, and have no money for themselves. It's a very sad thing to really see happen to people because I always want to see anybody enjoy their time with who it may be themselves or their loved ones. It is something that is very huge and detrimental to like your mental well-being. There are some people that enjoy kind of like that solidarity and quietness and just being alone. It's an interesting breed for sure. I have some friends like that where they could just not have to hang out with anybody or do anything to really give them that satisfaction at the end of the day. The satisfaction is I put in the hard work and it's paying off. And I feel like I'm on both sides. I could be satisfied with sometimes just being secluded and just being away from people. And then there are some times where I feel like I want to get out and I want to go see a movie with my friends or go enjoy, just to a bar or just going over to someone's house and playing games like board games, video games, just enjoying the time of being with other people and having that time to take away from a job and not have to focus so much solely on that and having to worry about waking up the next day for that. At the same time, it is very interesting when you have that time to yourself to just finally breathe from everything, whether it be job, life, people, and get to focus on the next goal for yourself. Like the reason why I got this job is because like I need to start progressing and getting better with my steps forward for what I'm doing. I'm 34 years old and I'm pretty much have almost a little to nothing to my name, and that's a very scary thing. Like the world's materials isn't something that's huge to me, but there's something I would like to leave behind that would be remembered, even if it's for me or somebody that might notice that for me. Like, hey, like he did hard work, he was loving and kind, and I I don't know. It's not like a validation thing. It's just sometimes you as a person want to leave your carbon footprint on this planet to have that mark and be like, I didn't waste my whole life doing nothing. I think a lot of people's fear of getting older or not doing anything and or nothing going their way to where they don't know if anything's going to happen to them. And it is a scary thing to get into mindset wise. I feel like if you don't have somewhat of a decent job, like you are behind on a lot of things and you can't have that validation at the end of the day. And it's kind of a sad thing that it's gotten that way. Like I feel like that shouldn't be a part of your validation. Sadly, it is. I think jobs it can be very detrimental for some people. Somebody could completely change emotionally, like spend their whole time being very depressed and sad that hey, like I have this one job and no one cares. Everybody's rushing to get out and nobody wants to do anything. And then you go to a job where it's like it's not more like oh we're family and everything. Like somebody plays signs like we actually appreciate you. It doesn't matter at the end of the day, if you're having a bad day, we want you to come to us and talk to us. And they're not gonna be there just to like as a trap, right? I feel like so many jobs give you that, and but when you bring up a problem, it's like, oh no, we can't deal with this, and they gotta go, right? We need somebody that's not this flustered or has all this drama or baggage that they're gonna bring it into the job. Like the job I have right now told me that it's like you don't want to walk in the door and have this complete weight and it completely drives everything down because like that eventually can hurt your job which eventually hurts you in the long term of having a job and they don't want to be the ones to be the bearer news but eventually it's going to get you fired. I think there are some jobs out there that are willing to work with you and I think for me, if in the situation, if you sit down and explain to people like what you're going through, they will take the time and be patient with you. They might give you the days off to recuperate and get your mental together. It takes a little bit of communication. Sometimes a lot of people don't think that these people that they work for like honestly care and that is a big thing these days. Like very often from different friends or people that you're just another body you can be replaced, right? Like you're just another bolt, you're just another screw that if you fall out you'll be replaced by another one. And it's sad to really realize that a lot of places where you work have gotten to that these days where people just don't feel like they're justified or have any kind of meaning to the job that they're working, which is extremely fucked up. It is such a sad thing to do to people because there's people out there that do honestly want to work. They want to prove to themselves and other people like they can get a job done. And that's why got this job that I have now is that I'm trying to prove to myself that I can do this. I can push myself to the limits even though it's hard. It's constant. It's a little bit confusing at times, but I just got finished my first week and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it. And the thing is like I said, it's a production based job, and I thought I was doing so bad percentage wise. I was like, oh man, I must be so low because like there's topping out at 100, but when you start off, you want to at least top out around 51%. And I'm like, man, I don't even know what I'm percenting at. They usually print out these papers with all your percentages and what you're doing productive wise. I was like, I'll look at it, and I'm looking for my name, and I'm just like, ah, man, I'm expecting worse. I look at it, I'm like, oh shit, I'm doing 80% production for my first week. That's pretty insane. I didn't know like I was going that hard for this, but I was right. It's sometimes your mental capacity will try to get you down when you're starting a very like a job that you need like this to make you like get further in your life or produce better things for you to where all the negative things will come in and be like oh no you're at your worst nothing's going to happen. I think that's why I took 2 weeks away from recording because my anxiety shot through the roof. I didn't know what to talk about. I didn't know what to sit down and really recuperate. Like I said, I try to get a guest, but people get busy and things don't fall through, and that's gonna be okay. That's gonna happen with this. I can't expect someone to be 110% unless we really schedule it down and they're in here to record with me, and that's gonna happen. That's okay with me because I'm still gonna be here and be able to sit down and come up with something to talk about. And like I said, it doesn't need to always be on a topic. Like I just wanted to talk about this because I got this job, and it is something that is changing my life drastically right now, and it will keep drastically changing the more I keep on it and keep staying with it. Um, but like I said, as soon as I saw that 80%, like all the relief came through. Like it's not 100%, but it's better than what I was expecting. Like I said, I was expecting to get below 50 and be like, oh man, I'm not gonna have this job in the bag. When I saw 80% though, it's like, okay, the more the negativity of the mindset just started going out the window, and I reassured myself like there's a reason why I got this job. There's a reason why they picked me because this is what I do. I'm a dog. Like I hate that that I'm saying that because it's a term that is used so often. Like, yeah, I got that dog in me, but I really am. Like, I'm willing to put my hands in the dirt and get the shit done. Like, I'm not afraid to push myself to the limit and see where I can go, or even make even more goals after that. I always in my life want to see how far I can go with certain things, and especially jobs that I do, because I know I can not. I don't think I'll ever peak. Like, I know there's always going to be another like rise that I need to get to, and I hope that I'm pretty sure this job will give that. Like, there's three different departments, and I just started off in one, and I know eventually I can start working in the other one and the other one, or start learning how to drive a forklift and so on and so forth. Never know what the end game is there, and I don't think there really is one. I think there's always moves, and you could always produce yourself to get in better positions. Um, I think it's interesting to see where these other guys are. Right, some of these other guys are very young and getting into, like, some of our new to warehouse and some of them aren't. And it was crazy hearing some of the guys that work there. It's like, man, well, what are we gonna have in the next couple months? Because like they say, they drop like flies around there, and it said it is a hard job. It's hard work. It's gonna happen. Like, there's gonna be people that are gonna just bug out and not want to come in the next day. And I think that's valid to some extent, but some people just don't want to do it. When they get in there, they're like, yeah, the money's great. I'm making 29 an hour. And then they start doing work and they're like, oh shit, like this shit hurts. Like, I'm sore the next day. I'm sweating my ass off. I stink. Like, my hands are dirty. I don't want to do all this shit. Like, why would anybody do this? That's the product of, I guess, like the job that I'm working at. I mean, any job has that cycle, right? It's all a part of a bigger picture at the end of the day. And it keeps with everything like revolving. And there's some people when they step up to that plate and they miss, they're like, I don't want to swing again. I'm afraid to go and swing again because what if I fail? What if I? They just rather step away from the situation. Like I said, there is some validation to that. I think it is okay sometimes to quit. If you know your limits, don't push yourself because you never know what kind of situation you get yourself in, and it can get way worse, right? I've done that with so many other jobs as well too. Like, I worked in the back of house and kitchen. There were some jobs that I loved. I loved cooking. I loved making food for people. I loved the rush. I like that, just that feeling of like, oh man, I'm going fast. I'm putting ingredients together. I'm going hard. I'm cooking it right. Nothing's burnt. Nothing's ever going. And then there were some jobs I worked at, and you have sometimes people breathing down your neck, going hard, telling you your shit, that you're fucking up, and you drop a plate, you fucking burn shit, and you gotta restart, you gotta go again. And that is stressful. That could ruin somebody. Eventually bring them to a point where it's like, they don't even want to do any kind of job, and they want to be the easy thing. I think that's everybody's answer for today. They want the easy thing. I want the easy thing, right? If that was there, everybody would be doing it. I don't think there would be no jobs for the easy thing and making good money at that too. Um, for instance, some people make or break when they do social media or influence or streamer, YouTuber, whatever it might be. Like, you might break out and be one of the biggest stars, but what are the stresses that come with that? You have to upload a video twice a week. You have to stay within a certain audience. You don't want to break out of it and, fuck up and say the wrong thing. Or a lot of these, at the end of the day, YouTubers got exposed for being sexual abusers, pedophiles, very weird relationships. It's the toll that comes with certain jobs. Like, you don't know if you can handle those things. I wanted to be a musician when I was growing. I was like, man, that would be the perfect job for me. I would love to play music and just go on tour and deal with the stresses of driving in a small van with my friends and moving equipment and retuning and get the level just right. But knowing how much you would hear stories of like addiction that would happen to a lot of musicians, whether it be alcohol, drugs, sex, whatever it may be, it will come out. and it would take over your life. And that was something that did affect me. I was addicted to some stuff. I was addicted to drinking, and I was addicted to painkillers. Like, that's something that took over my life when I did stuff like that. All I want, I sat down and did music, and I was like, this is a sweet relief. It helps me write. It helps me get away. It helps me put me in this mindset to where I can write about the feelings that I'm actually feeling. And I put myself in a hole, and it was terrible to other people that were around me that were generally trying to help me get out of that kind of situation. It took a while, for sure, but eventually I stopped. And oh my god, and when you start smoking and just take away everything else, like smoking bud, like you're like, oh my god, I'm never turning back to any kind of drugs. Because, like, I mean, now I don't smoke. I've kind of stepping away from that, but it was something that dramatically increased like my writing levels in my music, and just listening to influence and getting to sit down, and I could write a fucking whole album if I wanted to. I was like pleasantly surprised that something like this could do that. But there is that part where it kind of almost is like every time you need it, and I wasn't cool with that. Um, but yeah, like with the music thing, it's just I wanted it to be my career, but when you look at the long focal lens of like what that might be, there's very certain groups of people that can handle it. There are, yeah, I'm not saying like anybody can, not anybody can make music. That is something that's been proven through time to time that who anybody is, anybody picks up an instrument or sings can do something, right? They can make it in the music scene if they try really hard. Like all I just said though, it's gonna be very mentally draining and physically draining. Same thing I feel like I said with being YouTuber or a streamer or being online is my gosh, just how much you have to keep up with it on and keep people with you along the way. It is crazy to have to go to that situation. I feel a little pressure when I sit down and have to record this because even though if my audience is super small right now, I know people are waiting for me to put something out like this so they can just be like, "Oh man, he's still doing it. He's still just trying to put something out and enjoy what he's doing." It it's it's definitely a little bit draining. Like I said, through those 2 weeks when I was stressed and I really wanted to sit down and talk, but I was sitting there doubting myself that I can't put out anything good right now. I don't even know what to talk about. I'm probably gonna be sad and talk about how I'm not worth it and not gonna get the job. And who wants to hear that, right? Like who wants to sit there and listen to somebody that is completely just in their own self-loathing stage? Maybe there's an audience for that. I don't know. I haven't tried to tap that potential. Maybe I will. Maybe one episode I'll come on here and be like, "Hey guys, so like I'm totally done with life and it's over." Right? Like I wish like, it could work. I don't know. I haven't really tried to bring in that potential. But man, it is crazy in life that we really have to go out and drain ourselves to make a salary or make money to even survive, to keep ourselves full with food or anything like that. It is completely crazy. That is something that we have to rely on. Like for a while, it's like, of course, when you're young and into your young teenage days, it's like you can rely on your parents or your siblings or your relatives to kind of help you along the way and feed you and help you get clothes or whatever it may be. Even friends out there could help you get things in that every now and then. But there comes that time where you are at that step where it's just you and you're like, oh shit, like, what am I going to do to eat this week? Oh my god. It is, it, it boggles me that we've gotten to a place that where there is something bigger and power than us that completely drains us every day. And we want to get to that potential where those people are, but the things that might come with that, with the mindset of just like not caring about other individuals' well-being, is a part of. I feel like a part of that weird personality of those of people in power like that. There are people that make money like that, and care about other people's well-beings and give out to charity or take care of certain groups and communities, homelessness or people that are losing their jobs or homes, families, people that will extend themselves out to other countries that don't even have buildings like us. And it kind of gives us an outlook like, man, I wish I can be there. I wish I can give to the world and still be okay, right? And still make sure that to someone that they're okay and that they're gonna make it. But that is a hard goal to get to unless you completely change the world with a certain product or somehow come across like $100 trillion just randomly from somewhere. The option is for some people like me is just like working almost 30 years of our like the rest of my life until retirement, about 30 years to get to a point where it's like I'm okay. I don't have to worry anymore. I have things paid for. My mortgage is paid, my house is paid off, my car is paid off, my family's taken. That is a lot, right? That is a big laundry list of things like you have to take care of as a person, and it is a stressful thing to have to take care of. Like I said, it's something that shouldn't be a thing for people. I honestly wish that it was easier for anyone to get where they want to in life, to meet their goals, and eventually be at a place of like happiness for them and their other ones, the significant others around them. There's some careers out there that I still can't believe are a career. There is there's people out there that still farm because I feel like a lot in today's world, like there's computers, there's robots, but there's still people willing to go out in the hot sun and grow and garden, and there's big machines to help them till and everything like that, but still keep up with that. Or a damn booking agent. It's like somebody that's literally helping you figure out where you want to go on your vacation. Like, what? That's insane. Just someone just like studying places like, oh yeah, you can go to France or Germany, Japan. There's these great places. It's insane that there's some jobs out there that are a helping hand for people when they just don't have the time to sit down and think about what they want to do with their money or their time. That is something that completely boggles me. Um, I'm pretty sure there's even crazier jobs. I remember I forgot the name of the guys, and he does like the world's dirtiest jobs, and there's people that literally go burp fucking sewer tanks because if they don't, they will explode because there's just so much gas in them, and things like that where you're like, man, somebody literally is taking a pay of like $3.25 an hour to go burp a fucking poop tank, and it's just it's insane to me that maybe it is interesting for someone. Maybe they do want to do something like that where it's like, hey, it's something I can do. It's the only thing in your area. Maybe I wouldn't know. I don't even know how teachers still do it. Right? It's like teachers barely make more than 25 grand a year, and they're like, "Yeah, I love teaching the youth." And I don't think I hear a lot like, "Man, I don't think anybody want to teach these kids today." But I feel like it's always been a generational thing from generation to generation to generation. I still think there's going to be people out there that know how to branch out to other younger generations and know how to teach them. My sister teaches, and I've asked her, I was like, how do you really do it? Because there is a semblance of a generation now that was taught by phones and tablets and computers, and that's fine. It's a great, easy, quick way to learn how to do different things, but it also opens up that window of like influencers teaching these kids how to be a certain personality. When me myself, it's like when I was just surrounded by my friends, it was like that mixing group of like different personalities that I wanted to make me. But eventually, at the end of the day, I was like, I gotta just be me. But she was like, I'm just straight up. I'm honest with them. I don't really try to go off the end to be super cool with them, right? Like, don't try to go to their level to be super cool. Just like She just said that she's just straight up with him. And I think that's an interesting thing for to really perceive, that people are still okay with you being honest with them and being straight up. Even in a world that I feel like there is a lot of misinformation or people teaching you how to do in a certain way that isn't necessarily right, is that they'll take that still to heart, that you're still being kind of somewhat honest with them. And it's maybe really cool. Maybe there's an outside to that, like a definitely upside, to where they will see like, oh, this is a way I have to treat the people around me. Maybe if I'm just straight honest and straight up, then more people will be more susceptible to be around with me and everything like that. It took me a while to be very honest to people. Like I've always wanted to just be not like lying, but that fake it till you make it mindset, to where I feel like anybody that really got into that seems seemingly like you're like, oh, I'm getting through life okay. It's gonna be okay. And when you get home, you're like in the shower and you're crying, and you don't know what to do for the next day. You just want to stay in the shower forever, because like that's your safe place. There's no other safe place. For me, the shower's like always. It feels like I'm in another dimension, that I'm escaping from this reality of a world, and like I can feel like I'm slowly starting to get into cold showers for some reason, but I do like hot showers. But that steam hitting me and the hotness, and I'm just like feeling my muscles untense, and all these things just go, and I'm like, I'm in my safe haven. I'm okay. But it is kind of crazy to believe like there is somewhat of a semblance of like maybe we're gonna be okay. That just being a little bit of kind and honest with the people around me is going to make a difference. I don't know. Maybe not. With everything that's going on, I try not to pick sides or try to be one on one, but there is a limit in a line in the sand that I draw for certain things that are being done right now that I definitely don't agree with. I don't think it's really cool that certain people are getting affected by something that's going on. And it hurts my heart because I wish I had the money to fight this thing, but that's going to take time. That's going to take definitely patience and certain planning to get around it and work your way through it. I hope we all can get through this and everything will be okay, but sadly, more and more things that are very serious are getting turned into jokes. And nothing will be funny when it's detrimentally affecting every single person in your life and you. There is no end to that. There is not where you can go, I can stop this, because it's already past that point. When something is bleeding from the artery, you can't just cut it off. If there's enough blood, you're gonna just bleed out and die. And I'm afraid of that happening. Maybe this job for me can help me get through that, and I can stop the bleeding, and I can start working on myself and helping the people around me, because I miss doing that. I don't know why that's in my blood, but I love working and helping the people that are close to me in my life, because they took the time to show that they're good people. Man. And they'll go, no, 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 don't worry about that. Don't worry about payment. That's just how the general kindness of those people are. They're not looking for a buyout. They just love the absolute end of the day of making someone feel better. But I can't go feel comfortable with just ending it at that. It's like the endless gift, right? Going back and forth, back and forth. It's like it's never gonna end. But I love that I have people like that in my life. There's people, if you look hard enough, I mean, even if aren't looking hard enough, sometimes they just land in your lap. That will be there and show you how kind they are as a friend, and you should never take them for granted, because you don't know where that person's gonna be tomorrow. You don't know what you might say or do that hurts them, and something to where you're down the line and down in the dumps, to where the only person you could talk to is that person. There's some people right now that when I started this podcast up and I did the social medias that I've been trying to, following different people that pop back up, and I'm like, man, I need to get in contact with these people because they were great to me. They were very detrimental to me. They did their job of being a great friend, and I was a good friend to them. It's just there was a point in my life that I let too much of my depression and anxiety make judgment and decisions for me, and I should have never let it come to that. I want to not even like fix the mold or be like things with that. You just gotta let it die and let it go. You have to carry on and just maybe even start over or pick up where you left off and make it a good thing between you and those people, wherever it may be. But it's something that kind of opened me back up was this. I didn't know it was going to be this. Like, I wanted to get back out there and started being more sociable, but I didn't know this podcast thing was going to be the thing that made me generally open up my mind and my heart again about wanting to talk to people I haven't talked to in a long time. Um, there's some people that I generally did have a distinctive, weird, not like hate, but just like weird, like I don't want to talk to them mindset. And that's gone. Like I said, it's something I put away a long time ago. And it's like I said, there's people in your life that drastically change, and maybe sometimes it's okay not to have to start up a conversation with them again or talk to them. You just let them live their lives. But as long as you acknowledge that, that's probably the best option, right? Um, it is a very interesting thing to try to get back out there and be sociable. It's scary, especially with people that you haven't talked to in a while because you don't know how they're going to react to it. But it's something that it is an interesting thing to do again. Getting kind of close to an end here. I didn't really have a lot to talk about except for the new job and everything. But yeah, like I said, I'm super happy that I did get it, and I hope it keeps going well. Like I said, I'm gonna go in hard. I definitely am somebody that's not afraid to do a job, and I never will be. And the more I top out 100%, the more I make, which great. At the end of the day, I need to start making some really good decisions and moves for myself right now. I need to get my own place. I need to pay off my car. I need to step up some other things in my life. And sometimes money doesn't affect that. It's just if I can save some money right now to where I could relax and not think about the bigger thing, like my car and my insurance and all that stuff, where I know for sure those are paid off, I can start working on the little things with me. And then maybe other things eventually, where maybe more money put into this to buy better microphones or recording software. Uh, I don't know. Maybe buying a camera so I can actually start like video recording these, which I'm still kind of like I don't know yet because that's a whole nother round, like a whole nother wheelhouse I have to learn. Of, and it's probably not hard, right? I used to know how to film with cameras. It's just having to sit down and probably edit things and get through it and make sure everything's running a-okay, and getting through almost like 45 minutes to 50 minutes of me just sitting here talking about the randomness of life. But yeah, I hope anybody out there is enjoying what they're doing, and if you're not, I hope you find something soon. I have a friend that's going through that right now, that they pretty much given like over 10 years of their life for a job, and they're not willing to give them a raise or show them what they're really worth, and they are a person that is a hard worker, and they're having a hard time just getting out that lucrative of finding a new job because they've been with this one for so long. But you got to step away from that mold. And I was saying before, it's scary to try new things, but you got to. You have to get out there and hopefully find something you enjoy. Or maybe something right now just to make a little bit of money until you find something you enjoy. It is a very scary thing to go through, but I know there are some people out there that can you could do it, and there are people out there that will support you through it. Again, like I really hope there's people out there figuring it out and not being as stressed out with their job as it is. I'm pretty sure I'll get there, but I'll get through it. We all do. And so I'll leave it at that. Again, my name's Steven, and I'm sorry it took me so long to record a new episode, but this has been Neverything.